Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Colleen, and I'm really pleased that you came along today because I think I'm working on something that might be interesting, especially if you happen to have boxes of green tomatoes at your house and they don't all ripen at once. We're at the end of the season, all our tomatoes have been picked, and now we need to be busy doing something with them. And I've made a lot of different tomato recipes, and today is no exception. Today I'm going to make bruschetta in a jar. This is a recipe that's in the Bernardin book, and I will link the recipe below because they have it online, but I'll put a link in the description box below so that you can find it easily. The recipe is an easy one to follow. It doesn't contain a lot of ingredients, and I will gather everything up, have another sip of my coffee, and be back in just a moment. Well, I think I have everything gathered up for this part of the process. I'm trying to make it a little quicker for you, but it doesn't take long if you have the ingredients in your home, and if you're a canner, you probably do. I am going to get started with a brine. So into my little sauce pot, I'm going to put 1 cup of water. I'm going to add 1 cup of white vinegar. One cup of white wine. Now this should be a dry wine, and it so happens that I've had this half bottle of wine sitting in my fridge now for quite some time. I don't know why, because it smells really good and I probably should have drank it. It's a Chardonnay, and I am going to add a cup of that. It will help me use up this wonderful wine. Oh, I haven't tried this yet, but I can tell you already, this part smells good. We're also going to add into this, I'm going to open this up. This is oregano. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of oregano. There's 1. And 2. And we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of basil. This seems like quite a bit of herbs going in here, but we're going to trust they know what they're doing. And 2 tablespoons of a good balsamic vinegar, or I don't think it really matters, just a balsamic vinegar. This one happens to be a nice one that we enjoy. And it's good to recognize that when you start off with ingredients to make something, ingredients that you enjoy individually, that the chances of enjoying the dish when it's finished are a lot higher. If you put things into a dish and you're squeamish about them, chances are pretty good you're not going to enjoy the finished product. Now I've just got to chop 5 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to clean the ends off here. And it says to chop them pretty finely, so I will do that. I've got a little garbage bowl over here to the side, and I can put my ends in because when we get to the tomatoes, I'm going to need to drain some of them. Now, let's just chop these guys up. It says finally. I'm going to do my best. I don't know about you guys, but I always find chopping garlic to be a bit of a tedious task. And I am kind of mindful that you guys worry about me when I'm busy chopping away and looking at the camera. So if I'm not looking up, it's because I'm trying to pay attention to my fingers and not make you all nervous at the same time. I'm interested in this recipe because, well, I'm a historian. I don't know if you all know that, but I'm a retired museum professional. I worked at a local museum for 30 years before retirement, and so I always looking at the history behind things. So I had a look at the history behind tomatoes. And they do have an interesting history. I don't know why I thought they came from Europe, but they actually do not come from Europe originally. Originally they grew in Mexico and parts of South America and into Central America. And during the Spanish conquest, they found the tomato plant and they took the plants back to Spain, and from there tomatoes spread out all over the world. And what a find that was for everybody, because let's face it, tomatoes are in most cuisine that we eat today. Now, this little mix is going to go onto the stove and it's going to boil gently for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to get that on the stove and we'll get started on the tomatoes. Now I've just got all different kinds of tomatoes. Some of them are kind of ugly looking, and I'm going to, cut away anything that's bad or not entirely ripe. These funny little tomatoes this year had a lot of this kind of spot on them. So I'm going to cut the tops off. I'm going to get my little garbage bowl out. I'm going to squeeze the seeds and juice out of them because we don't need them, and carry on. And then I will chop them all after. It's wonderful to have a look at these products and know that they have such a rich history, and to know that tomatoes are so versatile. I mean, if you look at the recipes that you use today, I bet you would be amazed at how many different ways tomatoes can be used. They can be used in drinks for tomato juice. They can be used in salads. They can be just eaten raw in all kinds of different ways. One of them being fresh bruschetta, if you're inclined. And we can them, we bottle them, we preserve them for the future. We make sauces and stews with them. And overall, they're very, very versatile. And while the Spanish conquest couldn't have been very pleasant for the people involved in it, I'm feeling quite grateful that tomatoes got shared around the world, because we use them in everything. Okay, I'm just going to continue on, and I'll bring you back when I have 9 cups of fruit, or as close as I can get to 9 cups of chopped fruit in my big bowl. So I've come back. I've managed to get the amount of tomatoes that I needed, which was 9 cups. I'm just going to fill the jars to within a ½ an inch. I'm not going to push them down too much because we're going to need to add to these jars the brine that's just bubbling on the stove. Now, it says to leave a generous ½ inch of headspace, which I will certainly do. And so far this seems like a really simple recipe, and it would be a good way to use up some tomatoes. Now, filled that one a little too full. I don't know if it's my math is off, or maybe I'm just not being patient enough, but it seems like I'm going to have too many tomatoes. It's okay, whatever there is, I will can. Even if I have to make more sauce. And I am excited to be putting these tomatoes away because we only had a few tomato plants this year. But boy, they did not disappoint. They are still producing tomatoes, and we're at the point where we're picking all the big ones now to bring them into the house and get them put away, because there is just too many to deal with. They're going to get frozen if we leave them much longer. The weather looks good, but here in the mountains it can change pretty quickly. here is the boiling liquid that's going to go on these jars. And it just kind of looks not that appetizing, but I think that the way it smells is delicious. So I'm just going to ladle these in to the jars. And then I will use my chopstick to make sure that there's no bubbles. It will also help to mix this juice up a bit in the jar. That one is over full at the moment. We'll see what happens after we debubbled it. Now, so far, as I said, this seems to be a pretty easy recipe. And if it's as good enough to get into the Bernardin book, then I am definitely happy to try it. I think you want to make sure that the herby parts get into the jars as much as the liquid part. I see quite a bit of it left, so I might spoon some of that out because I have a little bit of sauce left, but I haven't debubbled yet. So I'm just going to debubble all these jars, and we'll see where we're sitting. Like I said, it gives us a chance to mix this stuff in there too. I think some of these jars are a little too full. I'm going to have to do a bit of scooping. But, oh, it's nice to be able to see the stuff mixing up in the jar. This one didn't get a lot of herby stuff. So I'm going to add some more. Now, folks, I think you know the rest of the process pretty well. We are going to put fresh rings and seals on these jars. But something that I just want to add, I'm somebody who in the past, many years ago, when times were a lot harder than they are for us financially now, I never would hesitate to use a seal more than once, because I just feel like that's probably a good thing to do. If we can use them more than once, then we should, although that's not recommended. And I have been promoting 4 jars seals for some time now. I think back in March we formed a partnership. And so I have been delighted with their product. And as I was opening things, I realized that my 4 jar seals looked almost like brand new. So I certainly wouldn't hesitate to reuse them. I am just going to scoop some of that out, a couple of those, because they're a little too full. Now, what am I going to scoop into? I'll scoop them into here. And anyway, I would not be afraid to redo them. Also, I wanted to say that a couple people reached out to me and told me that you can get 4 jars lids on Amazon. Now, I've been promoting them because I get a little something every time you buy them using my code. But it's a little something, and I'm far more interested in you having good products to use than I am in the few dollars that I make off that lid. So I want you to know that according to the gals on the community, you can get them on Amazon. So if you're a Canadian and you have an Amazon account, try and look that up and see if you can get some free shipping. That would be fantastic. I'd be happy for you to have that savings, because I believe that much in the product that I would want you to know about it, even if I didn't make a cent. Look at this. What a bounty. I think I've gotten around to all of them and given them a mix. There's one there that I see, I think I want to mix it a little more because there's a side of it that didn't have anything in it. And I'm just going to do that right now. There we go. Now we'll get the boiling lids off. I didn't intend for them to boil, but I'll get them off. I'm gonna just seal these up, get the rings, the seals on and the bands on, and I'm going to put them into the canner. So we're gonna process these in our water bath canner, and we're going to process them for 20 minutes at a full rolling boil. And I'm just going to stop and talk and say thank you so much for coming along while I brought you another tomato canning video. I know you're probably getting sick of seeing tomatoes by now. Actually, I'm kind of tired of them too, but we have been blessed with so many, and I'm not about to let them go by. I will try and find something else to work on to share with you for the next video coming up, so that you don't feel like it's the only thing I can do. And I look forward dearly to being here with you every week, and sometimes twice a week. It just depends on how the week goes and what inspires me, because sometimes it's a matter of inspiration. I'll see something that somebody's done, and then I get really excited about it and inspired by it, and I want to take care of it for them too. So I'm just going to finish off. I'm just going to say goodbye for now, and I hope that you have enjoyed today's video, and if you have, that you will consider subscribing to the channel, because my analytics say that there is like almost 80% of the people who watch the videos regularly who are not yet subscribed, and I don't understand why not. If there's a reason, then please let me know. Otherwise, just click the subscribe button, and that would really help me out. Until next time, folks, I hope that you're having a really good day and that you have a really good week ahead. And I will see you on the next one.